Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business guide and host, Michael Rager, here on the Now Media Television Network. All right, it's been a few weeks since we've had her in here, but we got Kristin Gunderson. Kristin, how are you doing today?
Great. Thank you so much for having me back today, Michael.
Man, it's the middle of tax season.
Yeah.
How do we pull you out?
Like a week and a half left.
Yeah, how do we pull you out?
I just knew that I had to get in here and get away and a different scenery, and I'll go back to doing taxes, and I'll be the better for it. So.
I was there. I spent 6 hours the other day finally doing my bookkeeping from last year. So,
doesn't that suck trying to do your bookkeeping all at once? Like,
yeah.
You just did it like all the time, it'd be done, and you wouldn't have to spend like a whole day doing it.
Really?
Yeah. That's what people hire us for.
I know, I was a procrastinator. Oh my God, I'm a perfect procrastinator. All right, so you're doing a lot of new things right now. We were talking earlier, you're doing some CFO stuff.
Yeah.
And doing the CFO stuff, you started using this new tool. Tell us about the tool, tell us the name about it, and why did you decide to use it?
Yeah, it's actually called PathMaker, and I started doing it about a year and a half ago. I went through a business coach and started doing this PathMaker program for my own self to learn more about me. I didn't know what it would be like or what it would do, but I literally, when I got done with it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've been doing bookkeeping and accounting for the last 20 years, and I feel like I've been in the wrong career like this entire time, and I'm like, having a midlife crisis, like what the heck do I do? And then going through it, I actually realized that I am more of a futurist instead of a realist, and bookkeepers, they really need to be realists. So with the futurist part, I really got to see that I love looking at the big picture. I love seeing, I can see out like what needs to happen, where the company needs to go. I love strategizing. And what I can do is I now use that 20 years of bookkeeping, accounting experience and know how to use the numbers, and I can actually see where the company wants to go, and I can take it from there. So I'm actually loving this new CFO side that I've added to my business to be able to help my clients grow their businesses and leverage what they have and just taking them to the next level. So I've been really enjoying it.
So let me ask you this question about PathMaker. So you said futurist, realist. How many different options does it give you? Because I take it some sort of personality testing, right?
Yeah, it's, some people do a personality test to be able to hire people and know like who they should be working with and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it really, there's two big parts of it. One is you look at your interests, you look at your abilities, you look at your values. And the interests are like what you love to do. The values are what you need to be doing in order to give yourself meaning. And then there's like your temperament. Are you an internalist? Are you a socialist? Are you a futurist? Are you a realist? Are you a planner? Are you an analyst? And there's another one that I can't think of off the top of my head. It also lets you know if like what your motivated role is. Like, are you more of the creative side, the creative developer? Are you into developing? Are you a maximizer or a refiner? So it's just been really, really interesting to see all the different personalities and to be able to see how to use them and when to use them. And I've actually started using it with all of my employees now. So now we're going through this in my employees, and I'm using it in the hiring phase. So I'm actually really enjoying this PathMaker.
Well, yeah, because the hiring phase is one of the most difficult phases that business owners have. I mean, we used to teach something called the 4-hour hiring system, and I'm a big fan of group interviews. I really am. People hate it, but it really allows us to see how people interact with other people. And even if you're going to be somebody like a bookkeeper or an accountant, where a lot of times you're going to work on your own, you still have to work with other people, and you have to see how you get along. So how are you using this with your clients? What are you helping them do, and how are you helping them set it up?
Yeah, well, with the hiring phase, I'll go there next. So I'm currently looking for a bookkeeper. Like, we are growing and expanding, and like I know, first off, with my clients and with me myself, like we need to figure out what our organizational chart is. What positions are open in our company right now? What positions do we need to hire for in the future? And I'm doing this with my clients also. But just me using it with trying to look for a bookkeeper, like the first candidate that I had, like they're sending in their resumes, so they can send in their resumes, and then I have them take the motivated role to figure out, okay, are you creative developer, maximizer, or refiner. And I know for the position that I am hiring for, which is a bookkeeper, I need them to be a maximizer refiner. That means they like to do the same thing over and over again. It's very repetitive. They don't come up with a lot of ideas. They like doing the same thing over and over again. So I have them take that first. And then that is able to weed out people. Like if they're way creative, I know like CFO or CEO people, like those are the people that would be in the creative side. Like if they're a creative developer, those are the people like, you can be like, hey, I want you to start implementing this and maybe come up with the policies and procedures, get it going good. And the developer, like those are the ones like, they're gonna make sure that that role or whatever is going good, and they develop it and then they push it off to the maximizers and refiners. So knowing what you're hiring for is the first thing, and then using that. So then the people who can use, like they're the motivated role is the right fit for them. Like, okay, so I know the bookkeeper position, I need maximizer refiner. So anyone who's not that, they don't move on to the next role, the next interview phase. So then the next interview phase is I have them fill out the interests, abilities, and values to figure out what they love doing, what they enjoy doing, what they would like to do. And I can look at that. One guy I thought would be really great for the bookkeeping position, but it came back he has nothing in there said that he is accurate or perfectionist or is into finances or data entry. Like none of those came back. Like I figured out like if I were hiring for a customer service role, he would be really great for that, but that's not what I'm looking for at this moment. So he didn't move forward. I have another lady who we moved forward with because she was a perfect fit for that. And then I sent her the next part of, okay, are you realist or are you futurist? You a planner? So what type, so I had her fill out that portion of it, and you know what, so she's still a perfect fit so far on paper, so now she's moving forward with the interview, so I'm actually gonna meet her in person. Like I haven't spent any time interviewing this lady or anyone else yet, but now I am. So it saves a lot of time on the interview process of going through your time, because your time is valuable. You don't have time to sift through hundreds and hundreds of resumes. You can literally be sending this out to them, and then we just know what to look for, and when the results come back, we can figure out, okay, are they moving forward or do they get pushed back?
So I like what you're doing here, because when we used to teach people how to interview, is we just didn't even want to talk to them up front.
Yeah.
We wanted to see how well they listened, how well they did what they did. You know, we used to go send out when they had an ad and they answered the ad, there was a phone recording that we used and said, please don't send us your resume. Mm-hmm. And if they sent us their resume right then, out they go. They didn't follow directions, you know, they were going there. Exactly. So this is helping you deselect people based on the way that they're answering the questions.
Yes.
Okay. So it saves you a lot of time. But let's say now we're there, we get there. Are you looking for 1 to 2 candidates? And then, hey, I'm going to go pick the 2 or out of the 2 or 3 that we get there?
Yeah.
How are we using it then?
Yeah, so exactly, we're using it that way to narrow down the candidates. But we only have 1, 2, 3 candidates left at the end, and then we can pick out which one will be the best fit, like personality, do we like them, that sort of thing.
So you're actually going to do interviews of 2 or 3 versus the 50.
Yes.
The 50 resumes you get.
Yeah, and then we make sure that we have the right fit for the right job before we even get them hired. And then another thing that we're doing is we're doing this for the employees that we already have, because we need to make sure that they are sitting in the right seat on the right bus. So having your employees do it, that's another thing we can do, because making sure that they're in the right job, because if they are in their sweet spot, pretend there's this little box, if this is everything that they love to do, that they're really great at doing, that they enjoy doing, if their job is in this little box, their productivity goes up, which means that you, the employer, are getting more productivity out of them, means that you're making more money. If they're a little bit outside of this box, but still close enough, their productivity goes down 0.5% to 0.75%. But if you are having them do something that's way outside of their box, it's called the danger zone. So learning what the danger zone is and having the employees know, okay, this is way out here, it's way outside, it's in the danger zone, and having them be able to come to us and save their employer in a safe spot, be like, hey, this client or this duty that I'm doing is out in the danger zone, then we can have conversations of, okay, tell me more about that. What about this client is in the danger zone for you? It's decreasing your productivity for I'm not getting as much.
Well, can I ask you a question about that? Let's say we've only got a minute or two left here. We're a small business. We can only afford 2 to 3 employees, so people are gonna have to do stuff that's not in their target zone, right?
Yeah.
How do we help them with that, and go from there?
Yeah. Well, we can have those conversations of, hey, this is the danger zone. So either one, like maybe it's a client that's in their danger zone. What we are doing is we're literally going to the client, having those hard conversations of like, look, this is what you are doing, A, B, C, D. And we either need you to start doing this or to stop doing this, and it might be communication. Like, I don't know what it is, like what's in the danger zone for those clients, but having those conversations, and maybe they just don't know, maybe they haven't had that tough conversation, but being like, you know what, we're gonna put you on probation. Like if you can't start doing ABC in the next 30 days, you know what, we're gonna have to refer you out to someone else. Or if it's like duties that they're doing that aren't in their sweet zone, maybe it's someone else's sweet zone that they can get trained on, and maybe we just need to swap positions, or we can use a VA to hire out for that, or there's other options that we can do, or maybe hire another employee that would really excel, and we can use it during the PathMaker during the interview process to make sure that they're the right fit for that position that we need.
Yeah, that's one of the things we do. If people are struggling, we give them either a 30 or 90-day period, then we move them out. Same with clients. We want to be able to make sure they're doing the right thing to fit with us. So Kristin, we got 10-15 seconds left. How do people get a hold of you?
You can give me a call at 936-372-2661, or you can text WIN to 855-798-3350.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Kristin. We appreciate you telling us about PathMaker. I'm Michael Rager, your business guide here on Biz Talk TV. We're going to be back right after this.